I'm Eleni Kirianou, and I will be doing a PowerPoint presentation about masks in theatre. So the first mask is the Greek mask, and it's originated from the Dionysian cult, and he was a god of fertility and wine, and they used masks to kind of praise him and remember him, and because his symbol was a goat, they used to wear goat-like masks. Thespis was actually the first author to use masks in his work instead of a religious point of view. And Greek masks were usually quite heavy, and as you can see, they have a wide mouth area so that they're able to talk. Their eyes are sculpted out and have a hole in the middle so that the actors are able to see, obviously. And yeah, as I said, they were used for religious and entertainment reasons. They also use chorus masks, rather than this mask is more of a main character mask. They used chorus masks, which all looked similar and were actually the same. And they resembled one person, and they'd either speak at the same time or dance at the same time to represent something that the main character wasn't able to say or portray, maybe a deep thought or something that they just weren't allowed to say, maybe like a secret. As a performer's point of view, I think this is quite hard because of the weight of the mask, but I also think it'd be nice not having to project too much your speaking because of the way the amphitheatre was built. I'd also, as an audience, I think it'd give me a non-realistic kind of vibe, especially when the chorus comes in and talks all at the same time. It might be a bit creepy, I think. Noh theatre uses dance, drama and music, and it began in the 14th century. They do have stock characters, so they have the lead character, which is usually a holy man or a demon or a spirit, and he usually wears that mask up there with the horns, if he's a villain. They have supporting actors, which are usually the priests, and I'd imagine to like help the demon. And they have musicians that have those four, can't remember the word for them, but yeah. They have chorus, which assists with the narration. And their masks are kind of like 3D, so when you move the masks in a different head direction, they portray different emotions, which I think is quite interesting. So as a performer, I'd really like to work with that, as I haven't had the chance to work yet with that kind of mask, to move my hand in a different way and to get the audience to tell me like what kind of emotion I'm giving off. And for an audience member, I think I'd struggle to keep up with the storyline, but I'd also think it's an amazing performance, and I would be completely taken back and really observe what's happening rather than trying to keep up with the story. The Bolognese mask, it's a very spiritual performance and is usually quite dancey. They have to fit into ancient characters, so by wearing these masks they fully become that character. People would create rhythms with their voices, and then the other people would dance to their rhythms. And in today's performances, only the villains wear these masks, and the villain is usually a monkey, which you can see there, and it's very colourful. The story is narrated by two actors wearing half masks, and both narrators have different points of views, so that's quite funny as an audience member, because you might have a different point of view to what one narrator is saying, but then you can also agree with the other point of view, which is the second narrator is saying. And as an actor, it'd be really challenging trying to learn all the movements, because they have a lot of movements in this kind of mask, and the dances that they do. They have certain dance moves for certain emotions and stuff like that, I think. And Commedia dell'arte, it began in Italy, and it was very popular between the 16th century and the 18th century. It developed more during the 17th century. These pieces were unwritten, so you could say they're improvised, but not totally, because they talk about the story and they talk about their goals in each scene, and they split them up into scenes and acts. They had stock characters, so like the villain, the sidekick, and the prince and the princess and stuff like that. Their acting had to be exciting and over the top at all times, and they had to keep the audience very engaged. And then in the 17th century, when it developed, Commedia dell'arte masks came into the situation. They still kept the stock characters of groups 4 to 5, And the stock characters wore half masks, which you can see here. They had to wear rich clothes, really bright clothing to really show what character you're playing. They also, because these characters weren't really allowed to talk, they had to memorise phrases, sounds and actions so that when the improvising came to an end, they can use like this sound to fill in the gaps. Yeah, and they kept. They also have assigned personalities to each mask. So as a performer, I really like trying on a mask and looking at their physicality. So like Capitano, he's the master and he leads with his chest. So it's really nice reading through what each mask's physicality is and trying to do that within, so that people in the audience understand what character you're playing as soon as you come on stage without looking at the mask, because your physicality shows the mask as well. Masquerade began in Italy in the 15th century. It's mostly popular in Venice because of their carnival. It's usually a half-face mask or a stick mask, which you hold with your hand on your face, and full-face mask. So this one is an original mask, and this is what they look like today and how we use them today. Today we usually wear them for Halloween. They're not really carnival-y anymore. Yeah, and I don't know how I'd act as a performer in this mask. I think it's quite mysterious, and I think for the audience as well it would be quite mysterious because it's quite a nice, sleek mask. There you go. Oh, come on, sorry. Yeah, that's the end of the slideshow.
Very well done, lady.